What if I told you that everything we thought we knew about disease in ancient America is wrong? Not just a little wrong, completely, fundamentally wrong. Scientists just pulled DNA from a thousand-year-old tooth and found something that shouldn't exist. A plague. Not the plague you're thinking of. This one's different. This one was already here, spreading across the Americas centuries before any European ship ever touched these shores. We've always been told the story goes like this. Europeans arrive, bring their diseases, indigenous populations get decimated. Simple, clean, devastating. But what if Native Americans were already fighting their own ancient battle against a disease we thought only came from the Old World? On May 29th, 2025, a team of over 40 scientists published findings in Science that completely shatter this narrative. They found Mycobacterium lepromatosis. That's leprosy, in Native American remains from over 1,000 years ago. Think about that timing. 1,000 years ago, the Vikings had barely stumbled onto Newfoundland. Columbus wouldn't even be born for another 400 years. Yet here's proof that leprosy was already stalking people from Canada to Argentina. The researchers weren't even looking for this. They were analyzing ancient DNA when they stumbled across genetic sequences that made no sense. Leprosy in pre-Columbian America? One scientist said it literally made no sense when they first saw it, but the evidence was undeniable. This isn't your typical leprosy either. See, most people know about Mycobacterium leprae, the classic leprosy bacteria that ravaged medieval Europe. But this American strain, Mycobacterium lepromatosis, is its lesser-known cousin. Scientists only identified it in 2008, and now they're finding it was here all along, hiding in plain sight for over a millennium. The genetic detective work here is mind-blowing. They analyzed nearly 800 samples, ancient bones, teeth, tissue from modern patients. They were literally fishing for tiny fragments of bacterial DNA in thousand-year-old remains. Imagine searching for a specific grain of sand on an entire beach. That's the level of precision we're talking about. 3 ancient individuals tested positive. One from Canada, others from Argentina. Same time period, same strain of bacteria. But here's where it gets wild. These strains are more closely related to each other than to any other leprosy strain on Earth. Despite being separated by thousands of miles, the math doesn't add up unless you accept something extraordinary. This disease spread across the entire American continent in just a few centuries, from the Arctic to Patagonia. How? Indigenous trade networks? Animal carriers? We don't know, but it happened fast. Faster than anyone thought possible for that era. But wait, it gets stranger. One lineage of this American leprosy split from all others over 9,000 years ago. 9,000. That's not a typo. This bacteria has been evolving separately in the Americas since the last ice age. It's been here longer than agriculture, longer than the pyramids, possibly arriving with the very first humans to cross the Bering Land Bridge. So how did we miss this for so long? Turns out we weren't looking. Nobody thought to check pre-Columbian remains for leprosy DNA. Why would they? Everyone knew leprosy came from Europe. It was accepted fact. Textbook history? Wrong. The implications ripple outward like shockwaves. First, it means indigenous Americans weren't living in some disease-free paradise before European contact. They had their own medical challenges, their own plagues to fight. The oversimplified narrative of naive populations meeting old-world diseases needs serious revision. Second, if leprosy could spread continent-wide 1,000 years ago, what does that say about pre-Columbian connections? We're talking about related infections from Manitoba to Patagonia. That requires extensive trade networks, human movement, or animal intermediaries we haven't fully mapped yet. Dr. Nicholas Raskovan, one of the lead researchers, thinks animals might be the key. Maybe leprosy jumped from American wildlife to humans, just like tuberculosis came from seals to coastal peoples in pre-Columbian Peru. We know armadillos carry leprosy today. What if ancient rodents or other mammals were the original reservoirs? The research team is actively hunting for these animal hideouts. Where has this bacteria been lurking for 10,000 years? What creature gave it safe harbor between human outbreaks? Find that and you unlock the whole mystery. There's another twist. This American leprosy strain, it's not staying put. In 2016, scientists found it infecting red squirrels in Britain. Genetic analysis shows those British squirrels carry the American lineage. Sometime in the 1800s, our homegrown plague crossed the Atlantic in reverse. The New World pathogen invaded the Old World. They've even found cases in Asia. Nobody knows how it got there. Modern travel, ancient Pacific crossings we don't know about? The questions multiply faster than answers. And yes, this ancient strain still infects people today. A few modern leprosy cases in the Americas come from Mycobacterium lepromatosis, not the European variety. This isn't just archaeological trivia, it's a living disease with a hidden history we're only now uncovering. Every assumption we had is crumbling. The Spanish didn't bring leprosy to the Americas. They brought a different leprosy. The one that was already here had been spreading for centuries, maybe millennia. Two parallel disease stories, not one. This discovery was only possible through cutting-edge paleogenomics and collaboration with indigenous communities who provided access to ancestral remains. Without their partnership, this secret would still be buried. We're left with a profound question. If we got leprosy's history this wrong, what else are we missing? What other European diseases might have American origins? What other assumptions about the past are waiting to be overturned by a single DNA test? The past isn't what we thought it was, and that changes everything.